Welcome back.
Hello. We're so excited you're joining us for week 2. That's week 4, but week 2. So this week we're super excited. We're going to dive into Ho'oponopono, which is one of the most beautiful practices. And I think it's something that a lot of people have heard of, and there's a lot of different variations to it that's out there. So we're going to dive in and just kind of go through all the different ways that we've used Ho'oponopono, what it means to us individually, and kind of its background, where else we've seen it show up, and just all the incredible things that it can do, as well as cutting cords, because they kind of go beautifully together. So yeah, Crystal, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So what Ho'oponopono, well, actually, I think we should give the backstory of where it comes from. Yeah?
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Totally.
Do you want to go ahead and let them know? Sure.
So this actually is a little close to my heart because it comes from the Hawaiian culture, which I have in my blood. So I feel like it was just, when I first heard it, it was a little more exciting. So Ho'oponopono came from the Hunas, and Huna in Hawaiian means secret. And so what it was is their forgiveness process. And so Ho'o, the first part of it, so H-O, what is that called? Comma? Not comma. Apostrophe. H-O apostrophe O. So Ho'o in Hawaiian means to make. And then Pono means right. So what it means is to make right, or to make right twice. So it's really just a forgiveness process where you're going in, and you're just making things right energetically between everyone, everything, and just getting back to that place of where, as Joe Vitale calls it, 0. You're just starting at 0 consistently, and you're able to come from that place. So it's beautiful. And like we said, it can show up in so many different areas. And I'm really excited to tell the story of it because I've heard Ho'oponopono used in so many different places. And it starts with Dr. E. Haleakala. See, there's some Hawaiian coming in. Lin. And with him and his original story with how it came up, yeah, we'll dive right into that, and it's really fun.
Cool.
So, Sarah, would you like to?
Yeah, get my highlights on what I'm hoping to get from this. So, as you guys probably saw from the video recording that I posted in the group, and if you have not yet, this is the first time I had actually heard of Ho'oponopono. And as I was trying to read the little card, it was like, don't even know how to pronounce this, never heard of it. So I am one of those few that have never heard of it before. So I got to do a little bit of my research this week, digging in, and I found forgiveness as a big, I guess, theme throughout that it was a lot to do with forgiveness. And so forgiveness, I already have tons of research on because, Crystal will come back. She's having some technical difficulty. She'll be back. Yeah, forgiveness is one. It's a huge theme throughout the Bible. So that's been brought up. More than 50 verses actually talk about it. One of the big points that I want people to get from this is forgiveness isn't for the other person. It truly is for you, and you do get a lot of health benefits from that. Also, psychologically, we have scientific proof that show different influxes of energy as your emotions change versus the people that you're talking to and you surround yourself with. And we can see the brain waves actually change with that too. So there is science that backs this as well. So those are my
goosies.
Yeah.
Welcome back,
Crystal.
Am I here?
You are so here. Would you like to dive in and just go into a few things that Ho'oponopono has meant to you, or how to rise?
Or no. Can you hear us, Crystal? Oh, she froze again. She's having lots of technical difficulties today. Come in.
Okay, well, we'll invite her to. Oh, wait.
Oh my gosh. Am I here?
You are here.
Oh.
Oh. Okay, so this is an
Oh,
ongoing
oh,
joke
no.
that we have between us. We usually play baby come back as she does this to us. But her freeze
Always
faces are always on point.
Oh,
She's back again.
okay, sorry, y'all. Thank you.
That's okay.
You know, I'm doing a little hoodie stuff today. That's all.
There you go. That's right. Magic.
Okay, so did you all talk about the story of the doctor in how Ho'oponopono came about?
No.
Not yet. So we were going to go
points.
Oh, okay. We're doing our points about it.
Yes.
I think we need to start over. That's how I'm feeling. Should we just start?
You got this.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Sorry. I'm so lost on where we are in this. Okay. So this practice is so beautiful to me because it is about taking radical responsibility. And it is truly about feeling all of the feelings that are arising within you and being able to understand that whatever you're seeing on the outside of you is a reflection of the feelings that are going on, is that it exists inside of you, and taking complete responsibility for that experience. So as we go in.
Oh, we were on a roll too.
Okay, well, we'll just continue on. So as she was saying, as we go into it, we'll just pretend that we're Crystal. As we go into it, as she was talking about earlier, we'll start with kind of the story. So Dr. Hewlin is a doctor that was in Hawaii. And so back in the 80s, I think it was the mid 80s, he was known for, he got hired to work at the most intense criminal institute and mental psych ward in Hawaii. And so this was like the worst of the worst. This was the murderers, the rapists, the people that just had not only the mental illnesses, but also combined with some really intense, severe, brutal criminal records as well. And so it said that people were constantly quitting from there. There were people always calling in sick. No one actually wanted to work there. And they said that they were known when they came into there, all the employees walked with their back against the wall because they never know if someone made a shiv or where one of the inmates was going to come at them. So just a really literally crazy place to be. And so Dr. Lin came in and he worked there for 3.5, 4 years, I believe. And through it, by the end of his 4 years, the psych ward was completely closed down because none of the people that were in there needed any of the mental help or were able to walk free, which is really crazy. Wow. So, which gives me goosebumps too. It could be because my fan is on, but I'm getting some mad goosies today. So yeah, it's just a really powerful story. And so it got, of course, a lot of press conference. And so everyone was like, what did you do to these inmates? Like, what did you say? How did you heal them? And he stepped up and was like, I did nothing. This is everything that they did. The only thing that I did is I worked on myself. And so it's just such a powerful story because he realized that this institute, whether obviously he didn't kill or hurt any of these people, but he showed up to that situation and for a specific reason. So similar to what we were talking about with reflections last week, he said, okay, well, this is something I created in my reality. So it took that ownership to a whole nother level of saying, this person murdered someone and I'm responsible for it. And so I need to clean my energy and forgive myself for whatever I had to do that made that possibility exist in my reality. Just let that sit for a second. Like, that's so crazy to think that if we show up with that 100% ownership and really think that everything that exists in your reality is because you created it. So whatever it is, whether you think you're a part of it or not, you're fully responsible for it. And so with that being said, it's a part of our responsibility to clear that energy. So super cool. So what's amazing is he never saw a patient or an inmate at all during those 4 years. All he did is he had all of their files. He would go into his office every single day, look at their picture, and do ho'oponopono again and again. And he said, I never cleared their energy. I never healed them. All I did was I worked on myself. And that's what ho'oponopono really is. So ho'oponopono is broken down into 4 phrases. It's I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. And so that's all he would do is look at their file and repeat those 4 phrases over and over and over again. And then it started where some of them were starting to get off some of the really heavy medications that they were on. And then some inmates started being more gentle and showing up as a completely different person than one that was so violently angry before. And then, like I said, it just kept going until 4 years later, the entire ward completely closed down because it wasn't necessary, which is just crazy. Like, Sarah, you have so much experience with this, working in that. Like, can you imagine just going through that?
No, I know. I'm like, and hearing you describe him apologizing, him taking ownership for that, never even meeting these people. It's me, my mind went straight to, it's like law of attraction on steroids.
Yeah.
It's a major law of attraction thing to say that I was called to come work here means that I created this in some way. And so it's definitely very high level thinking that I think not everybody could wrap their head around or just go straight into that. I think it might take somebody a little bit to get to that point, but how beautiful is that? That's and yeah, the turnover rates are crazy. He's talking about people not wanting to go show up to work, people quitting, and that's very real in the mental health field. There's so much turnover rate, and I believe I've heard the same for prison guards too. So I can imagine having a combination there. That would be really rough.
Yeah, totally.
So Tessa, do you know, before they got discharged and were released, and I'm sure it was not just all at once, it was little by little, did the doctor start actually physically seeing them before they were released?
Never saw them. In all 4 years, he never saw them. And from what I understand, and so I've never actually heard him speak on this part, but I'm getting a lot of feedback here. So from what I understand is that he didn't feel that he needed to meet anyone because his ego had no part of it. He didn't heal them. He healed himself. And so the only person he needed to have a relationship with was himself. It's crazy. So amazing. So Ho'oponopono was first introduced to me by Tony Robbins at a relationship event for in Maui. And it was this beautiful moment where we did an energetic visualization, and we were holding this beautiful pink orb of light. Mine was pink. Nathan's could have been green or blue or something else. And so we were holding this beautiful orb of light, and we just had to be completely still and stare at into each other's eyes for 5 minutes in total silence. And what's that phrase? The eyes are the windows to your soul. Oh, it's insane. So there we are. We're just imagining and holding and feeling this incredible orb of light and staring into each other's eyes, repeating after the 5 minutes of silence, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And so when I first heard of it, I thought that Ho'oponopono was a forgiveness technique that you are exchanging with someone, and that you're able to, this is what I'm bringing, this is what you're bringing, let's now forgive each other and clear the energy. And then after I did the course with Joe Vitale and Dr. Len, I realized this is all about me. This is all about yourself and your inner work and everything that you're healing within yourself. And the people around you, that's just a ripple effect of healing yourself. So I think that's so important to really understand with it.
Yeah.
Are you with us, Crystal? I think I saw you blink.
Yeah, I'm with you. I went to my phone, so I think we're better now.
Oh, good.
Did you want to finish your thoughts earlier? Sorry, I know we got cut off a little bit.
Yeah. So I just love so much that really, to me, that this is a prayer to the divine. And when we're praying to the divine, you know, to the great one, to God, to source, to the universe, whatever word we want to put on it, it's this praying to the extension of the self. And while we're doing that, we're inviting, allowing, and welcoming all of the emotions to come up, and we're meeting them with thank you, I love you, please forgive me. And it's this experience of, like I was saying, taking radical responsibility and seeing that the only reason, or not even the only reason, but there could be a reason, is one way to approach it, I feel, for some people, because not everybody's going to, it's hard sometimes to say, oh, something outside of me is happening and it's my fault, even though I didn't have anything to do with it. Even talking about the doctor who went to the hospital, he didn't even know any of these people, right? So how could he go in and take responsibility for what's going on in their experience? So going back to what Sarah said, this law of attraction, what brought him there, you know, the draw of, okay, well, I'm here and now I am responsible for the visual, the experience and my perception of what's happening here. And this is something that we can practice not only on things that are in our own life, money, relationships, business, past life healing, love, you know, health, but also for the state of the world, the state of the planet, the flow of the universe. I love you. Thank you. Please forgive me for any contrast, any rage, any darkness, any stuckness that I'm perceiving here. Because when I am, what I'm doing is emanating that out into the world and creating it just by being here, just by being the energy, the beacon, the lighthouse of my energy. So yeah, we can do this for all the things that we have issues with in our life. And I mean, even things that we think aren't us, right? Because what this really points to is interconnectedness, is that we are all connected. We are all just reflections of each other. And if we can cultivate that feeling, that loving, open, soft, supple heart, and know that we are just reflections, we are the mirrors of each other, there's going to be a lot less hatred on this planet and more love. And we're going to be walking forward in the steps of love instead of separation.
Very beautiful.
I love that.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful practice.
We're all connected. And I think even we say that often, and everything's energy and we're all connected and we're all one, even with nature and animals. But I think sometimes we, even though we say that, we forget mentally to make that full connection, that we are all connected and we are all each other's responsibility. It takes a village, not just with kids.
Yeah. Yeah, the illusion is separation is an illusion, right? It's just my ego saying I'm not that, but really we all come from the same source. So to embrace that heart, and like I said before, you know, where the start is, it can be hard. You know, some people are going to say, I didn't create whatever. I mean, anything like in a political world or whatever. I didn't create the way that guy behaves. And we have to know that we can sit in Ho'oponopono and pray to the divine about everything inside of us that's arising around that, and dissolve the thoughts, emotions, body sensations, and feelings around what is arising by being tender with those prayers, those mantras. And this is a way that we can actually heal the world, I believe.
Definitely. That brings up a really good, oh, sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
Did you say, speaking of kids, earlier?
I did. I'm going to come back. Well, let's go there. So I'm going to pin it, actually. So Dr. Lynn talks a lot about not only with things that are alive, but also inanimate objects as well. So let's pin that and we'll come back to that later. So with kids, I don't know if you guys have seen Finding Ohana, but I thought it was so cool. It's a movie on Netflix. I think it's a family movie. And so our kids, we have this massive shirt. It's a 4X shirt that when they fight, we put both of them in it, and it's called our We F Up shirt. And they both go in this big shirt. And when they're in it, they have to just ho'opono over and over and over and over to each other. And then so we saw Finding Ohana. And so she makes the older brother and the younger sister do it, except for they have to say ho'oponopono with reasons behind it. So they start out and they're like, I'm sorry I smashed your phone into pieces. And he's like, I'm sorry, you're an annoying little sister. And then they're like, I forgive you. And while they kind of make it into a joke, like it has to be fun for kids. And I think it's such a powerful practice. Like I love that Chevy and Jaden, but my youngest is so ingrained with ho'oponopono. Like every night before she goes to bed, we touch foreheads and we just ho'oponopono. Not because there's anything wrong or there doesn't have to be something that needs to be fixed, but because energy always needs to be cleaned. Whether there's something that arises that neither of us were conscious of, it's something that we both need to say, we're starting at 0 again tomorrow. Which is so cool.
Very beautiful. I love that. That's
Yeah.
so cool. Yeah. I also wanted to add, I think, an important part of the forgiveness thing, because we were talking about how sometimes it's really difficult to take that ownership or to even see your responsibility, especially in something like that where you haven't met anyone. But even in situations, let's say you have, and you felt like you were the wronged party, and it's like, well, it's their fault. Like if they hadn't done this, if they hadn't done that, and I think that's typical human nature, is to instantly get defensive and go in defense mode and say, they did this and it caused this. And we could have a whole thing on, and I think we have that as one of our topics down the line, of that radical responsibility and taking responsibility for your actions. So you could totally pin that. But I know that's typically where somebody goes first, is a lot of times, well, they said this, they did this, they hurt me. And I think one step is, well, what did I have in that matter? So it is asking yourself, what was my responsibility in this? Even if it was just, I attracted it at some point, so I've done something because it came to me. So I'm putting something out there to where the universe said I needed that back. 2, I read a quote from someone, or it was just a little blip when I was doing some of my research, and I thought this was a really important components to forgiveness too, is 1, sitting with the hurt. So you don't necessarily instantly need to go right into forgiveness if you're not feeling that forgiveness yet, because you're just going to let stuff keep festering and it's going to come back around again. Like you have to truly, and maybe this is one way to do that, clearing that energy, but sitting, meditating, clearing it until you really feel like you're in a good spot to say, okay, I forgive you. I want to move forward with this relationship. I want things to be better. We're starting with 0. I'm good. Cleared. Not even bringing this back up, to really get to that forgiveness. So I think that's an important component too, is don't just feel the pressure to forgive someone instantly if you don't feel that in your heart yet. You have to clear that before you get forgiveness. And then, one of the guys had said, forgiveness is a step further than just saying, all right, I forgive you for that, or it's not a big deal and letting that go. The step further is you have to offer something good. And that's either empathy, compassion, or understanding. And I think that is a big component, because I know I've talked to friends in the past where they've been like, well, I forgive her. Like, for instance, honestly, mothers and daughters, man, there's a lot of some of my acquaintances and friends that just have issues with their moms. And so I think this is like a big one for some reason. But I had an acquaintance that had an issue with her mother, and they were fighting. And then we were getting to the point of like, you're going to have to forgive. You're going to have to let that go. And she would say, well, I forgive her, but, and it's like, that's a total indication right there that that's not true forgiveness. You're trying to forgive, but if you can't see her point of view, or maybe it's something with her upbringing, something that you don't even know about her that caused her to behave this way, or that caused you to interact in that situation, there has to be that component of empathy, compassion, or understanding that goes along with it for that to be true forgiveness. And I thought that was a really important part when I read that.
That's beautiful.
Let's
just talk about that a little bit more. In NLP, we talk about that word but. Like, but is such like a stopper. So in NLP, we talk a lot about if there's any sentence that has but in it, whatever came before the but is completely canceled out. The only thing that lives is what's after the but. And so really taking that practice and challenging yourself to start saying and. So I forgive her, and I also realize there's something I need to forgive in myself, rather than I forgive her, but there's something else that needs to be worked on. It's just a huge stop of energy flow. So really great point there.
For sure.
Definitely. And also that piece around, if we don't offer forgiveness, it's like taking poison in our own bodies. You know, it really isn't about, well, it's like wanting them to die, but we're killing ourselves. Not being able to practice forgiveness is stuff that we hold inside of ourselves. And even before that, Sarah, that was such a beautiful reflection on the understanding that you've brought this into your experience, even if you consciously didn't think you did. And what I want to really speak to is it came because of your unconscious. You are unconsciously wanting to get off on this a little bit. The bottom line is, some people love to feel struggle. They love to feel indifference. They love to feel
Victimhood,
resentment, all of the things, like they're being controlled. And instead of, those are 5 out of all the things that we unconsciously love to feel. But the bottom line is, we create and attract these experiences and people in our lives that are going to feed us our unconscious belief system. And it's about this beautiful practice of going into that unconscious belief system and handing that up to the great one, right? And saying, yeah, I'll feel my feelings and I'll be present here with what I'm going through. And then now I'm going to say this prayer, give it to the great one, so that this energy truly can be dissolved. So it's a matter of conscious dissolving in the unconscious realm, and then trust that the great one will take care of it for us, right? This trust and surrender. So I want to name how much of this work really speaks and leans into doing unconscious clearing.
Yeah, good point. For sure.
And also, I'm going to leave you gals for the rest of the day. Enjoy your second segment of what you've pinned. And I love you both so much.
Love you.
All right. Ho'oponopono, I love you. Thank you. Please.
Love you.
Bye.
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 Yeah,
Yeah, Crystal has a little one that's sick, so she's got to go to a doctor. So she had to leave us just a little early today, which is why we've also pre-recorded this this part.
We want to send her daughter beautiful healing thoughts as well, that she pulls through all of this as well.
Yes, get some relief that she needs today.
A perfect example is something like this. Like, Sarah and I have nothing to do with her daughter being sick on the outside, right? But there's something in our energy that created that, because it is in our reality. So something where you just take that moment of silence and just, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And so that really brings us to our extended. We're going to go into the mist, which, if you saw our first video, is our extended version where we go in a little bit deeper. We have some practices that we can exchange back and forth. And it's just creating a safe space where we're able to really get into that healing, because our goal is to really help shed as much trauma, baggage, layers, all the things as we can. And so what we're going to do is we're going to move into cutting cords. And so while we've talked so much about Ho'oponopono is really your inner work, the actual words of the 4 phrases of Ho'oponopono is so powerful in themselves. And so we have this meditation of cutting cords. And so you're able to bring on people that you feel that you've wronged or have wronged you, or anything like that, anything where you feel like there's negative energy. And we're just going to use those same words. And again, keep in mind, Ho'oponopono is for yourself. You heal yourself. That's not for anyone else. That's your selfish little human gift that you get to give yourself over and over and over. And so cutting cords is allowing you to, because there still are energetic cords that are connecting us. We are all interconnected. Some are good, some are bad, some are, what's that called? Like, meh.
Neutral.
Some are neutral. And so cutting cords, you take Ho'oponopono, you work on yourself, you do it through yourself. And then cutting cords is that final kind of just cutting off those energetic cords and allowing yourself to really keep all that good yumminess to yourself as well. So that's what we're going to move into the extended version. So we hope that you join us. We're super excited because this is a really fun practice.
Yes. I actually just did my first cutting cord meditation this morning. So
yay!
share that later. Yeah.
That's awesome. And then again, so it's not something that's only for negative energy. Like if you are teaching, or if you're if you're a teacher and I don't know why teacher's coming through, but say you were at the end of your day with your students, you want to cut cords with all those students so that they have all their energy back and you have all your energy back. So it's not a negative thing. It can be super powerful with any negative energy that's lingering. But yeah, so we just invite you to ho'oponopono on yourself. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And just work through those 4 phrases for anything that's arising for you. And then we'll see you in the extended, where we'll get to cut some cords.
See y'all there.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you in a little bit.
See you in a second.